as you know,
Yes.
I believe I have mastered the grilled burger.
My word, you sure have. Best burger in Los Angeles without question.
I might accept that. But for some time, I was off grilled burgers. I found them, they were bland, texture was terrible. I didn't enjoy them. I was only making smash burgers.
Okay.
But I feel like a year ago or so, I cracked the code on grilled burgers. Anyway, I got that down now. It's a fucking science, right? I can do it drunk and blindfold.
Yeah.
So a couple days ago, I was making these for me and my family, but I started a little late in the day. So instead of doing my usual like 1/3 pound burger for me, and then I do like smaller, like 3-ounce burgers for the kids,
Yeah.
rest of my family, I was like, I'll just make them all small.
I'll have two.
They'll cook faster and I'll have two. Exactly.
Sure.
That was my plan, right? So my big plan. But the problem is it screwed up like my mental muscle memory of size forming these things. So I'm going through this and I'm making them and I'm like, these are all too big. It's the wrong size. So I reform them again. And then I was like, they're still too big.
Yeah.
The fourth time I'm reforming these, right? Trying to get this right. I finally say to my wife, who's in the kitchen with me, I said, I feel like Demi Moore in Ghost. I need my Patrick Swayze to help me with these. And she just kind of looks at me. So then I asked Google, I said, play the song from the pottery scene in Ghost, the movie. And sure as shit, it played Unchained Melody by the Righteous Brothers right on cue. And then my wife literally looks up at me and she's like, what is wrong with you? As I've got
Quiet, please.
Unchained Melody playing in the background and I'm forming
In 4,
me pretending Patrick Swayze's ghost
3,
is behind me.
2.
Company presents a truly terrible podcast. Welcome to Nonsense Season 2, Episode 32. I'm Jeff Parker.
I'm Stittle.
This is our take on the week's business, tech, and entertainment headlines. This time, we'll look at cleaning up the Great Pacific Garbage Patch.
Easy. Just give me one of those long sticks with the pokey thing on it. I'll be fine.
It's the National Day of Encouragement. Your words have the power to lift someone when they're down. They also have the power to motivate someone who might be struggling or encourage someone to pick themselves back up after a setback. To praise and encourage someone's effort is a practice worth having, no matter the day of the year.
I feel like this is the day my wife should wear all black and not speak to me since she normally gets grumpy when people encourage me.
Your wife always says, don't encourage him.
Anytime someone laughs at one of my jokes, she's like, oh, fuck, please don't. Please don't.
How's your week going?
You know, my week has been going well. I'm still, mourning's not the right word. Like, we lost a legend this week. We had James Earl Jones.
You can mourn him. He is mourn worthy.
And he's such an iconic actor with such an iconic voice. And I know that everybody associates him with Star Wars and Darth Vader, of course, which was amazing. I can't imagine Darth Vader without his voice. It's not possible.
Right.
Maybe Samuel L. Jackson, but...
Oh, Darth Vader with Samuel L. Jackson as the voice.
Could you imagine?
That would be really fun.
Get these fucking droids off this fucking ship. Anyway, I had to do that. But my favorite scene with James Earl Jones was at the end of Sneakers. Do you remember when he was, he was playing the CIA boss man?
So great.
Oh, man.
Yes.
And he just gets so annoyed as like they're making these asks. If you folks haven't seen Sneakers, you should watch Sneakers. It's one of my favorite films. I love when James Earl Jones is just getting more and more annoyed at like Dan Aykroyd asks for like a RV with like a burgundy interior. A Winnebago, sorry. Yeah, Winnebago. And River Phoenix has like his ask is like for some chick's phone number that's there with like, it's so good. I'll put a link in the notes to the scene.
That whole scene works because James Earl Jones is so believably put out.
Yes, exactly. And you can just see his blood pressure rise during this scene.
It's just great.
He's just so annoyed. And Whistler asked for world peace twice.
Yes.
It's fantastic. But it did remind me of, I've only had one chance encounter with Mr. Jones, and it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
I was big surprise. I was late going to my dentist's office in Beverly Hills, and I was running down the stairs as fast as I could because I was already late, and I almost ran right over this old guy. And I stopped like to say, oh, you know, I'm so sorry. And as I look up and I see him, and it's James Earl Jones. And the first thing that flashed into my mind is I looked him dead in the eye, and he's kind of startled, right? Because I was coming down the stairs.
You're gonna run over him.
And I said, "You are not my father." And then I just kept running down the stairs, and I made like another flight and a half of stairs, and I just heard his laugh, and I was like, he's got such a great laugh. And
that iconic baritone laugh.
This
Yes.
belly laugh. Yeah. And I just remember thinking, oh man, I fucking got him. And I just kept going. And like, that was just my one chance encounter with him that I will always remember. It was good times.
That's awesome. The Lion King coming to America. Field of Dreams.
Coming to America.
So good in Field of Dreams.
He's so good as the king in Coming to America. I forgot about that.
So good. So good. What a talent.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, my week, thanks for asking.
I always forget there's two of us on this show.
No, you do.
And your name's even in the credits. I still forget it.
For those following my home repair saga, the drywall is up and Home Assistant is now off the Raspberry Pi and on a Nook. And more importantly, the temperatures in Los Angeles are bearable again.
Yeah, I like this. It gets below 100 and all of a sudden we're like, oh, 97 ain't so bad. Like we're fine at 97, which is literally 20 degrees cooler than it was a week ago.
Oh, it's crazy hot. That was just nuts.
Yeah, let's not do that again. Let's wait a while.
Shall we get to our headlines?
Let's do it.
Apple's iPhone 16 16 faces rising challenges with AI delay and growing Huawei competition. AI features will arrive on iPhone in beta next month.
Well, but they said that at the beginning. At the beginning, they said it was going to be 18.1. This isn't new news.
I can't help
I
that.
hate the fact that I feel like I have to defend Apple on this show. I'm the one in most circles.
When you're with your friends, you're the one who isn't defending Apple,
I am not
right?
defending Apple, but when I'm with you, I feel like they're the little guy getting picked on. Like this $3 trillion company is getting picked on by you, and I have to like rush to their defense.
Needham analyst Laura Martin said in a note, with lots of words like later this year and early next year, the core Apple message for iPhone 16 was, next year will be better.
That was specifically around the AI coming later. I think their core message was, I love that they do this every year, it's their best iPhone ever, which, again, to your point,
they're not going backwards.
Let's live stream next year, and I feel like we should do a shot every time somebody says it's our best blank
Something ever. Of course it is.
Like we would be hammered by the end of that keynote.
By the way, this phone, not as good as the one we had last year, but just wanted to be honest, let you know. We screwed this up. This one
2025,
sucks.
we kind of fucked up. It's a step back. It's a small step back, but you're going to love it. I promise you're going to love it.
Rush right out and get it, please.
I mean, they've done some cool stuff. It is incremental. I'm excited. They push a lot of the existing features in their sort of Pro line stuff down stack, which I think is great.
Which is great.
The AirPods got better. The features that were in the Pro a while ago. The iPhone 16 got features that were in the i15 Pro. So generally speaking, I think it makes it a lot better. I think there's some cool stuff in there. Also, fuck you case makers, because now you have to like embed like crystal into your case if you want to use the little slidey touch thing.
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty sure, at least me, if I order a 16 Pro, which I'm planning to tomorrow, I will be buying the Apple case because I'm pretty sure it's the only one that's going to work for a while.
Absolutely magic.
It's the best phone they've ever made.
I was a little surprised there was no fold phone, but the Google has the fold phone. But I don't love those fold phones. Or I didn't love those fold phones. Until I actually, speaking of Huawei, until I saw Huawei's trifold phone.
The Mate XT.
Have you seen this thing?
Not in real flesh, but it's not a trifold phone. It's a fucking trifold tablet.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh my word. All those fold phones have 3 screens because they always want to give you a screen for when you have it folded shut.
Sure.
And the difference is in this one, they actually make that 3rd screen be
usable.
part of the make it usable as part of the when you have it completely unfolded.
It's crazy.
It works as 2 panels, it works as 1 panel, and it works as 3 panels. And man, it looks fantastic.
It's interesting. I'm not convinced it's going to be very usable, but let's see. I don't know. It's got like 4 cameras on it, and like I just feel like they did like a typical Chinese manufacturer play where they looked what else was in the market and they said let's just +1 everything. 1 fold? No, fuck you. 2 fold.
I don't think so because you
3 cameras? Nope, 4 cameras.
You always have that other panel. Why not connect it into the big wide screen? That's great.
Why not just buy multiple Mate XTs and plug them together and you could just make a TV? You could have a $20,000 32-inch TV.
You're pretty close to have
like
that.
Just plug them all together.
Speaking of price, this thing is $2,800.
It's like $3,000.
I have not been tempted by a folding phone, but I looked at the promo on this.
Please
one.
buy it.
Wow,
please buy it.
Cool.
I would love for you to buy it.
They have 4 million pre-orders so far.
What? At $3,000 a crack?
Yeah, 2,800.
That's $1.2 billion in pre-orders.
Isn't that amazing?
That's insane.
Apple's shipments in China fell by 6.7% in the second quarter of 2024. That's probably a lot because of Huawei. Huawei's improving.
I'd also like to correct my math. That's $12 billion in pre-orders. I'm sorry.
It's a lot of pre-orders for what looks like I don't want to buy the world's most expensive phone. I don't want to be that guy.
Sure.
I'm going to put a link to the promo in the show notes.
Yeah,
it's cool.
I don't know, man. I start looking at like UX and things. I'm not convinced that phone's going to be the most useful, but the idea of a folding tablet is extremely interesting to me.
Sure.
Like as just a folding tablet. Like if it's just a basic, not even with cameras, just a tablet that I could fold in half or in quarters is very interesting.
Watch in the promo as they unfold it into like, first of all, from 1 screen to 2 screen.
And you're like, ooh, that's big.
The way it animates out is really cool. And then the way it animates out to 3 screens is even cooler.
That's not IRL. That's a render, right?
These days you can't tell.
There's no, exactly. There weren't like hands that were moving it.
There are hands moving it.
I don't know. I'm going with render.
It looks amazing. It looks absolutely amazing. There are other videos on YouTube if you want to see it. You can actually see other humans unfolding it and all of that. And it still looks just as cool. Now, I don't speak Chinese and all of the characters on it are in Chinese. I think they're precluded from being able to use Android.
Why?
Because of U.S. sanctions against technology in China, against Huawei. But whatever OS they have created, it looks really cool. Now, does it have English characters available to it? I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not going to be able to use the phone if it just is written in Chinese.
Yeah.
That's useless to me, but it looks really cool.
I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm just like, is this thing durable? Is it going to last 3 years?
Who knows if it's durable? Although they showed how the hinge is made.
That's crazy.
It looks like it's going to last until you die.
The hinge is a screen.
Oh, it's
like, that's nuts.
But no, the mechanics behind how the hinge works is really cool.
I bet that's okay. Post that. I want to see that. That sounds really neat.
We'll post a couple pieces of that just so you can see the Mate
Sure.
XT from Huawei.
You could spend more, but how?
Apple and Google's defeats to fuel the EU's crackdown on big tech. EU antitrust chief Margrethe Vestager scored 2 major wins on Tuesday as Europe's top court backed her crackdown against Apple's Irish tax deal and Google's anti-competitive practices in 2 landmark cases. The European Union Commission in 2016 ordered Apple to pay 13 billion euros, $14.4 billion in back taxes to Ireland, saying the iPhone maker benefited from 2 Irish tax rulings for over 2 decades that artificially reduced its tax burden to as low as 1/5000% in 2014. The Luxembourg-based Court of Justice of the European Union sided with Vestager. The court also threw out Alphabet's unit Google's appeal against a 2.4 billion euro fine levied by Vestager 7 years ago, the first of a trio of hefty fines meted out to the company for various anti-competitive practices.
Yep. So we don't want your business in Europe. Just go keep taking advantage of the Americans, I think is really what they're saying.
They are charging Apple $14.4 billion. They're used to paying $500 million in taxes.
I'd like to understand this particular, they didn't call it a loophole. They called it like there was some tax ruling. And I really would like to know more about it. I have to dig into this deeper to understand better how this was like. Was this just
Irish taxes?
Like, did Tim just like go walk into an H&R Block and was like, hey, I got to do my corporate taxes. And he's like, oh, I think it's 0.1%. And Tim's like, look again. And he's like, oh, 0.05. Oh, that's better. No, 0.005. Okay, cool. Yeah,
That's so
I mean,
funny.
this is nuts though. Like that's got to be impactful to like the Irish, not the GDP, but it's still like $14 billion.
Amount of tax revenue that
That's
they bring in. It's
fucking
got to be a
real,
large
right?
percentage of the tax
A huge
revenue.
number.
For sure.
I don't know. This is interesting to me. I feel like maybe it's everybody's piling on.
Ireland's going to get a windfall. Well, legitimately piling on. The court agreed.
Yeah.
Also, most of business was looking at that, settling themselves in Ireland, establishing themselves as an Ireland corporation, and thinking, that sounds too good to be true.
Well, next up, I think Apple's going to move to the Principality of Sealand and just be based out there and pay.
They should just buy their own country.
I mean, at this point, why not just go buy an island somewhere, even with a favorable country? But I could see that. I mean, there's lots of places I'm sure you could buy. Like if Oracle can fucking buy Lanai, I'm pretty sure Apple can figure out somewhere to buy.
But they don't govern it. See, the U.S. still governs it. I think they'd have to declare war on the U.S. and then
that would be fantastic.
Separate themselves.
And Larry's just like, I don't know your Oracle 9i instances. It's like, yeah, you want to fight me? I'm going to shut some shit down. That's what's going to happen.
DOJ claims Google has a trifecta of monopolies on day one of its ad tech trial. On Monday, the U.S. Department of Justice's next monopoly trial against Google started in Virginia, this time challenging the tech giant's ad tech dominance. I know you have no problem with this suit. I know you are in complete favor of everything they're doing.
I don't know. I'm not a fan of monopolies. I'm a fan of what is best for the consumer and what is ultimately best for the small businesses. I want everybody to win as best we can. I still don't think that breaking up Google, I'm not saying that's what's going to happen here, but that seems to be the path they're going down, is what's going to be best for really anybody.
Yeah.
There are plenty of other ad providers that you can use.
There really aren't.
Well,
even in the suit was brought by Gannett, the newspaper chain.
Yeah.
Even in the suit says they can't give up Google. They cannot get that huge stable of advertisers that Google brings to the ad exchange.
Well, yeah, so this is interesting. So they had a Gannett.
Literally saying they have no option.
Well, no, they do. This is the thing that really pisses me off. They had a Gannett executive who said something like, quote, it feels like it has no choice but to continue to use Google's ad tech products, even though the company keeps 20 cents on the dollar from every ad purchase.
Yeah.
My read on that statement is that he's bitching about the percentage of dollars that are kept. He's bitching about the amount.
That's always the tell in court cases about monopolies. How much are they able to have pricing power?
So what should that number be?
I don't know. Obviously, Gannett thinks it should be under 20%. You think it should be under 90%.
I would say less than 90% I would accept. 92% maybe.
Yeah, is that right?
20% doesn't seem unreasonable. Like if you really want to if you want to think about forced fucking fees that add no benefit, what about ETF charges on credit cards? I mean, you're blowing through 3%.
Well, I think you can take on
of course,
more types of cases than one at once.
I understand this, but I'm just saying of like if you were to force rank the ones that are the least benefit to consumers, that one seems to be pretty high on the list.
Okay.
I think 50 years ago it made sense. Now it doesn't. But again, let's go after Google because they're the bad guys. So this same executive later said, and I this just resonated with me. He said, I quote, "We simply can't give up access to the huge stable of advertisers that Google brings to the ad exchange.
Right.
That is the benefit of them being big, is that you get this one-stop shop where you can get everybody. And I was around 20 plus years ago where you could not get all the advertisers services in one spot.
Sure.
You had to go to multiple providers, and it was a fucking pain in the ass. I feel like really what we're saying is we're negotiating price. I feel like it's 20% is too much for arbitrary reasons. It should be less.
When you can only get that huge stable of advertisers, when it is, as you say, a one-stop shop, that is literally the definition of a monopoly.
But there's nothing keeping the advertiser from also advertising on other platforms that you could go choose.
But they don't.
But they don't. Why?
Yeah.
Because Google's a better product. It's a better product and a better service. I don't think they should be penalized for that.
It might be, but eventually it's a monopoly and we don't have competition, and Google is able to have complete pricing power.
But they do have competition. There's plenty of competition.
If they do have plenty of competition, the DOJ will lose the suit. End of story. It'll all be over.
You can go use Bing. Reach the 6 customers that Bing reaches. Those people don't use Google.
Okay, enough of the headlines. Up next, we're going to talk about how cheap the cleanup of the Great Pacific Garbage Patch could be.
Are they going to have like a boat with a big arm on it? Like when it comes to my house and just goes out and just picks it up and dumps it into the boat? Like,
Boats full of children with grabber nabbers, I think, is all they need.
oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Although I do not want to have to manage the mess hall in that place.
No.
Could you imagine?
Come on, let's go.
Mac and cheese for days.
Every now and again, you and I will do a segment. We will bargain with each other because we each have passions. We want to do a segment about our passion.
Yes.
This week you won.
Yep. Golden showers it is, everybody. No?
Not again. No.
All right, one more time. Yes, this is more of a passion for me than I thought when I started thinking about this segment. And I realized really how passionate I am about this.
Oh, I know for a fact you're passionate
Yeah.
about this whole topic.
Yes, trash.
Yes.
Yeah, and you know me for a long time. I generally just dislike garbage.
Yeah.
Not like an Ed Begley Jr. level of hatred. I haven't gotten quite there yet, but I feel like I'm getting close.
Sure.
Remember
Okay.
when he put all of his trash for the week inside his glove compartment? And my first thought was like, why would you do that?
Yeah, why would you do that?
Don't put your trash in there. That's a wrong place for it. I try to minimize my waste. I try not to use any one-time stuff. Like I really despise paper plates. Like why can't we just rinse it off?
Sure.
It's not that hard.
Sure.
Not the paper plates, by the way. Those go in the dishwasher. But if you really want to piss me off,
Okay.
throw your trash like not in a receptacle, like litter.
Throw it on the ground. Just throw it on the ground.
Oh, you selfish mouth-breathing shithead.
Sure.
Nothing pisses me off. No, I shouldn't say nothing. Few things piss me off more than this. And I've watched people like literally empty shit out of the floorboards of their car. Just like dump it in the parking lot and then drive away.
Oh.
I just don't understand how people do this.
I don't see a lot of that anymore. That was
I
the
don't see
thing
a lot
like in the
anymore.
70s,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
don't see a ton of it.
I don't
the
see this
thing I
much.
see.
Yeah.
Do you see people flicking their cigarette butts out there?
Oh.
And it's like, oh my word.
Fuck, man, you want to light me up? That's the way you do it. I have, on more than one occasion, shameful to admit, but I'm happy to say this publicly, I have gotten out of my car in traffic, stopped in traffic, picked up cigarettes, lit cigarettes people flicked out of their car.
Oh, my.
And flicked them back in their car. And I literally say, oh, here, you dropped this, and I'll flick it back into their car.
As it lights up brightly as it goes through the air. Yeah, oh, sure.
Oh my God, I did it this one time. This guy in Wilshire, I hope he listens to the show. He was driving his little BMW and he dropped it out, and I had it. This is 20 years ago. I got out, I picked it up, and I was like, here, man, you dropped this, and I flicked it right back in his car. And his girlfriend thought it was the funniest thing in the world.
It is pretty funny.
Because I'm sure she'd been giving him shit about doing this for years.
Yeah.
And he went bananas. And I was like,
course
what?
he did.
You dropped it? I was just picking it up for you.
It's a lit cigarette. It's a little piece of fire.
I was driving once with a friend who used to do this, and I used to give him a rash of shit. And he got pulled over by the cops when I was following him. I pulled over behind him, and the cop was talking to him. I was like, I don't know what you got pulled over for. And then I was like, oh, it's for the fucking cigarette. And I got out and I told him, and I was like, he does that shit all the time. I literally yelled it at him, and he just wrote him up, and he's like, why you have to be a dick? I'm like, stop driving your fucking cigarette butts out the window,
Right.
and I won't be a dick. So I'm just not a fan of trash at large, but especially not litter. And this topic today kind of straddles both.
Okay.
And I would like to point out, though, that I don't think all trash is bad. There's one specific set of trash that I find quite endearing. The only trash I've ever truly liked is Marjorie the Trash Heap. Do you remember Marjorie the Trash Heap?
I don't know what that is.
It was the Oracle on Fraggle Rock.
Oh.
She was the sentient big pile of trash that knows all and sees all, right? No?
Okay, sure.
She would like
Okay.
dispense like advice and wise sayings. And it kind of made sense because she once said that, in fact, she knows all because she is all. She's orange peels, I'm coffee grounds,
sure,
I'm
sure.
wisdom. I found this in doing research for this bit. This I did not know. According to the presentation booklet used to pitch the series, Marjorie's pronouncements were, quote, sound a little like Dear Abby on a bad day, which I thought was fantastic. I miss the trash heap.
Sweden has a mountain that they can ski on.
Yeah.
And they refer to it. It's a pile of garbage.
Pile of trash.
And you think they're saying it derisively about the ski slope.
Yeah.
No, they actually made it out of a pile of trash.
It's actually a pile of garbage.
Literally a pile of garbage.
Did it come like flat packed in a box and then to assemble it.
Yes, everything in Sweden came flat packed.
So anyway, so today I want to talk about something way less sentient than Marjorie, and this is the Pacific Trash Vortex, or as you or an average hater of trash may know it, the Great Pacific Garbage Patch.
Yes.
Right? You know about this thing?
It's between California and Hawaii. It's this massive amount of plastic and floating garbage.
Well, okay, you're partially right.
Yeah.
Part of it is between California and Hawaii.
Oh, there's more.
There's more.
Of course there is.
Yeah, it's grown. For those that don't know, the Great Pacific Garbage Patch was discovered around 1997 by this guy, Charles Moore. He was a yachtsman. He was coming back from Hawaii. He had been doing like a yacht race in Hawaii and was coming back to LA and noticed that there's just all this trash around him, right?
In the ocean.
In the ocean. Like he just was at one point realized there was just all this trash floating around him. It was named by Curtis Ebbesmeyer, who was a Seattle oceanographer known for his expertise in tracking ocean currents and the movement of like when cargo gets lost overboard. He'll kind of track it, try to figure out where it goes. So this Great Pacific Garbage Patch, yes, Pacific Ocean, as you figured out, but it goes from the west coast of North America all the way to Japan.
Oh, wow.
Which is bananas.
It goes beyond Hawaii.
Researchers from the Ocean Cleanup Project, which we'll talk about later, they believe the patch covers about 1.6 million square kilometers, which is about 620,000 square miles.
That's bigger than I realized.
Yeah, not small. Consisting of somewhere between 45,000 to 130,000 metric tons of plastic. That is a lot. That was as of 2018.
Yeah.
So it's probably, bigger. The patch is so big that we have given it geography. So it's comprised of the Western Garbage Patch, which is near Japan, and the Eastern Garbage Patch, which is what you're talking about, between Hawaii and California.
Yeah.
The Eastern Garbage Patch is often described as, quote, larger than Texas.
Yes.
Even though it contains not a square foot of surface that you could stand on. Right? It's all just like floating stuff, which I always think it's amazing. Like, leave it to Americans to describe a giant floating mass of garbage as the size of a state with, the great state of Texas.
Well, just to give you some sense of how big this thing is.
These areas of spinning debris are sort of linked together by the North Pacific Subtropical Convergence Zone.
Basically, a lot of currents are coming together, causing the garbage to all come into basically one place.
Yeah, well, you get this like swirl. So you get this big swirl that's happening between the continents. And then the garbage just slowly works its way towards the middle where there is really no current. And it kind of just sits there. And these things are known as gyres. So the area in the center of a gyre tends to be very calm and stable. And that's why that circular motion of the gyre draws debris into the stable center. And then it just gets trapped. So check this out. A plastic water bottle discarded off the coast of California. It takes the California current south towards Mexico, and then it might catch the north equatorial current, which crosses the Pacific. Near the coast of Japan, the bottle may travel north on the powerful Kuroshiro current. And then finally, the bottle travels back eastward on the North Pacific current. And that gently rolling vortex of the eastern western garbage patches gradually brings that bottle inside.
Yeah.
That whole trip, how long do you think it takes, if you had to guess?
Let's see, it takes me 5 hours to fly to Hawaii. So carry the one.
It takes about 6 years, which is kind of impressive, right? Like, that is message in the bottle, not terribly long.
Yeah.
And research has generally indicated that the patch is rapidly accumulating. It's believed to have increased roughly tenfold each decade since 1945.
Were we using a lot of plastic in 1945?
It wasn't zero. We're going to come up with this. I've got some numbers on this I think are kind of interesting. But like basically, if you think about this bottle, it's like the trash in the Great Pacific Garbage Patch is booked on like a long, never-ending Disney cruise of trash. Just like a death spiral.
Well, the problem is with each year it's out there, the more it breaks apart.
Yeah.
And the more it breaks apart, the harder and harder it gets to clean up.
Yeah. If you think about garbage patch, I mentioned this earlier, it's not like a island of trash floating in the ocean you can walk on. In reality, the patches are almost entirely made up of these tiny bits of plastic called microplastics. That's what Jeff was just talking about. And these microplastics can't always even be seen by the naked eye. Also, contrary to popular belief, you cannot see the patch from space. Even satellite imagery doesn't show a giant patch of garbage. And that's mainly because of the microplastics.
So when I'm ordering tuna tartare,
don't think about it.
Right?
No.
It's full of microplastics.
Yep.
It's got to be.
Which means you are.
Which means now I am.
Yep.
Full of
Preserved from the inside.
Okay.
That's how I like to think of it.
Fantastic.
The microplastics of the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, they basically make the water look like a cloudy soup. Which is super fucking gross. Just think about how hard that is to get out. Okay, so now what's in it? Plastics make up the majority of the marine debris for two reasons. It's durable, low cost, and its malleability mean that it's being used more and more in consumer industrial products. Good luck buying something that isn't wrapped or somehow based in plastic. And as Jeff mentioned earlier, plastic goods are not biodegradable, and instead they break down into smaller pieces. They just get smaller and smaller and smaller. The sun breaks the plastics down into these little tiny pieces. That's a process known as photodegradation. And then most of that debris comes from things like plastic bags, bottle caps, plastic water bottles, and styrofoam cups.
And then we get to eat it.
Yes. As an aside, I could do an entire month of episodes just yelling at people that use plastic water bottles. It just drives me fucking bananas. So check this out. Back to the patch. Those microplastics make up about 94% 90% of an estimated 1.8 trillion pieces of plastic in the patch. 94% of the pieces, but that only amounts to about 8% of the total tonnage.
Wow.
Just to show you how disparate this is.
How do they know? You can't even see it. It's so small.
I mean, they're making estimates, right? But when they go fish this stuff out, you've got things that are the size of a fingernail and smaller, floating in like a cubic meter of water. So it's a really hard problem. A fairly comprehensive study by a team of scientists that was published in Scientific Reports in 2018 concluded that the 79,000 tons was 4 to 16 times larger than had previously been estimated for this patch, right? So not small. Here's what's nuts. They also found that fishing nets accounted for 46% of the trash by weight, with the majority of the rest composed of other fishing industrial gear, ropes.
Are fishing nets made of plastic?
Well, yeah, all sorts of random stuff, but here's the thing.
Nylon, or what are they made of?
The shit that floats is going to be made of plastic. Yeah. Because a lot of it sinks, and we don't really see or talk about that.
Well, so what's below it? What's sank that's below it?
Well, we don't even really know. You're talking like, remember we went and tried to find the MH370, and that was a giant piece of metal that landed in the ocean. How the fuck are you going to find trash down at the bottom of the ocean? Right? Good luck. The belief is that most of this fishing gear that they're finding has been discarded either because of inclement weather and or illegal fishing.
Tangled or lost. I mean, stuff happens, sure.
Yeah.
How much of it is bobbers?
Most of them are bobbers, just out there hanging out.
Because that's plastic.
And the fish are getting immune to it. They're just like going by and be like, I'm not falling for this shit again. About 20% of the debris they estimate is from the 2011 Japanese tsunami, which is also kind of bananas, right? I mean, that's a lot. It's like a third of what's out there of this fishing gear.
It probably just pulled garbage dumps right back out into the ocean that were on land.
A report from Britain's Foresight Future of the Sea found plastic pollution in the ocean could triple by 2050 unless a major response is mounted to prevent plastic from reaching the ocean. It's a real problem.
Especially since I like to eat fish.
Yeah.
And I don't like it seasoned with plastic.
The study included 2 aerial surveys in October of 2016 that took about 7,000 images and 650 ocean surface trawls by 18 different vessels across 3 months during the same time period. Those trawls really helped fill in the story, and this is pretty nuts. They had 50 plastic items that were collected that had a readable production date.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, right? 1 from 1977, 7 from 1980s, 17 from the 90s, 24 from the 2000s, and 1 from 2010. So mixed bag, obviously. They found that about 386 objects had recognizable words or sentences in 9 different languages.
Can I stop though?
Yeah.
You only had 1 in 2010.
Yeah.
Does that mean it just hadn't made its 6-year journey yet? Or does that mean we actually reduced the amount of plastic we're dumping into the ocean?
First of all, the survey was done in 2016, so you're only halfway through the decade.
So it hadn't made its journey. It hadn't made the 6-year journey to get where it needed to be.
I also don't think people are just making plastics, dumping them directly in the ocean. I think they use them for a little while and then they work their way into the ocean. But I don't know. So the 380 or so objects that had writing on them, a third of them were Japanese, another third were Chinese, which is now kind of crazy.
Well, I was just going to say, does that mean they come from China or Japan? Because we have tons of things in this country that come from China and Japan.
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
The country of production was readable on 41 objects, and that showed they were manufactured in 12 different nations. So kind of all over the place. Okay. But those are very small subsets, right? From what I think that just tries to give you a general idea of the problem that's there. And as I mentioned earlier, oceanographers and ecologists recently discovered that about 70% of marine debris actually sinks to the bottom of the ocean.
But is that plastic? Is that stuff that doesn't biodegrade? Is the stuff that sinks, it's okay that it sinks because it falls apart?
Unclear. Right? Unclear. You definitely have stuff that is sinking that's not biodegradable. You have stuff that is. So it's unclear. I'm just saying there's a bunch of junk out there. Yeah. I'm mainly focused on the floating shit that is mainly plastic because that's the stuff that's in the great garbage patch, right? The Great Pacific Garbage Patch.
Also, it's probably the easiest stuff for us to clean up.
Yeah, let's talk about that because
you have bad news. For the tone of your voice, you have bad news.
I want to give this some perspective of size, right? And I think these are really hard numbers to comprehend. A 2017 study concluded that of the 9.1 billion metric tons of plastic produced since 1950, close to 7 billion metric tons are no longer in use. 80% of what we've made as plastic is no longer in use. Yeah.
It's packaging.
The author estimates that about 9% was recycled, 12% was incinerated, and the remaining 5.5 billion metric tons are in the ocean or in the land.
Wow.
The vast majority, over half, 60% of the plastic we've made as a civilization are either in the dirt or in the water.
The in the air part's not great either.
No, it's not great at all. But that's not included in that. So that's only 12%. right? I mean, yes, that 12% is a real, over 1 billion tons of plastic. That'll be a separate episode. We talk about why you're coughing so much.
Kind of a cool thing they do, though. Like if you look at electric cars, the Kia EV6, the Volvo EX90, the Polestar, the Hyundai Ioniq 5, they all have seats and carpeting and mats and things that are all made, and they're wonderful. They're really nice textures, all made of recycled plastic.
What I thought you were going to say was talking about the plastic, instead of, recycling the plastic that it ends up being incinerated. Tesla's got a lead on that. Most of their cars just end up incinerating themselves so that they don't have to worry about recycling them.
Sure.
It's a great
self-incinerating, sure.
Leon's gonna sue us at some point, isn't he?
Might.
Here's the thing, you're alluding to this. Marine debris is harmful to marine life and to us.
Yeah.
So anything that lives or travels through this gyre, for example, not gonna do well. So loggerhead sea turtles often mistake plastic bags for jellies, their favorite food. Albatrosses mistake plastic resin pellets for fish eggs and then feed them to their chicks, which die of starvation or ruptured organs.
Oh.
So that's great. Seals and other marine mammals are especially at risk. They can get entangled in those abandoned plastic fishing nets.
Yeah.
And they often drown in those forgotten nets, right? A phenomenon that has a name. It's called ghost fishing.
Wow.
Which is just beyond me.
Yeah.
And then you can also disturb the food web. So those microplastics and other trash collected on or near the surface of the ocean, they block sunlight from reaching the plankton and algae below.
Of course.
That algae and plankton are the most common autotrophs or producers of marine food in the sort of marine food web.
Sure.
And they can produce their own nutrients from carbon and sunlight. As you threaten those, the entire food web may change. Animals that feed on algae and plankton, such as fish, turtles, they're going to have less food. If those populations decrease, then you have less food for apex predators like tuna, sharks, and whales.
Yeah.
And eventually seafood becomes less available and more expensive for people. Now, cue very, very, very angry Japanese people.
Sure.
Do not fuck with their fish.
Yeah.
They'll get very angry.
Cue Angry Jeff. I love fish.
Yeah, me too. These dangers are compounded by the fact that plastics both leach out and absorb harmful pollutants.
Right.
As plastics break down through that photodegradation process, they leach out colorants and chemicals such as BPA that have been linked to environmental and health problems. But wait, there's more.
Oh, thank goodness.
Conversely, plastics can also absorb pollutants such as PCBs from the seawater, and those chemicals can then enter the food chain when consumed by marine life.
Aye.
So they both giveth and taketh to then giveth to the animal that eateth.
Sure.
This is fucking terrible. So at this point, by the way, in my research, I'm like, oh, this is bad, right? Like you've got all this trash flowing there. This is bad. And then I started to get really kind of angry. So when I wanted to know where it came from.
You gonna flick the plastic back in the country's window?
You laugh. If all I need is one of those, Jeff Bezos airplane drops of money, and I might just do that. Just be like return to sender and just bring it and drop it right back on him. Where does all of this trash come from? Using data from a research paper by Lauren J.J. Meyer and team to highlight the top 10 countries emitting plastic pollutants in the waters surrounding them. And this study basically looked at countries and it sort of concluded that countries with smaller geographical area, longer coastlines, higher rainfall, and poor waste management systems are more likely to wash plastics into the sea.
Sure.
So overall, for example, China generates 10 times the plastic waste that Malaysia does.
Okay.
However, 9% of Malaysia's total plastic waste is estimated to reach the ocean in comparison to China, where less than sort of 0.6%, so 60 bips of China's plastic reaches the ocean. So you can't just look at how much plastic they're making. You've got to look at what they're doing with it and where it might end up.
Right.
Now, this is mind-boggling. The largest contributing countries estimated by this paper's model were the Philippines, where you've got 4,800 rivers emitting 356,000 metric tons per year.
That's all the plastic. That's tons of plastic.
That's 9% of the total generated waste in that country is going into the water.
Wow.
That's insane. India, 126,000 metric tons per year. That's about 1% of their total generated trash from about 1,200 rivers, give or take. Malaysia with 73,000 metric tons. And then China with 70,000 metric tons. For comparison's sake, the U.S. generates about 2,000 metric tons.
Okay.
So we're much less, but I still think this is somewhat, this isn't the only metric to look at. This is the metric to look at how much trash is going into the ocean, but I wanted to cut the data and sort of look at it a little closer. And when I did that, the median country produces only 235 metric tons per year. The average country production is 6,000 metric tons.
Yes.
So that immediately told me that you've got a small number of countries that are putting in a lot of fucking waste.
Ton of trash.
And this is only into the ocean. I'm not talking about total trash generated.
No, of course.
I'm talking about trash generated that makes it into the water. And there are 16 countries that produce more than the average. Those 16 countries account for 89% of all the trash generated that makes it into the ocean. That's insane. So if you really want to think about the trash generation problem that makes it into the water, there's 16 countries you need to look at. And in addition to the Philippines, India, Malaysia, and China that I mentioned above, you also have Indonesia, Brazil, Vietnam, Bangladesh, Thailand, Nigeria, Turkey, Cameroon, Sri Lanka, Guatemala, Haiti, and the Dominican Republic. Those countries, all, if you put them all together, make up about 90% of the trash that makes it into the water.
Wow.
That is insane to me, right?
It's a small number of countries.
A small number of countries. So then I was like, well, let's look at this per population, try to figure out, get a sense of how much trash this is per person, which I don't think is the right metric, but it's a metric to look at this through, right?
It seems like a much better metric. How many people are putting out how much trash?
So the Philippines and Malaysia generate 3.1 and 2.1 metric tons per 1,000 people. Or, and that's my own metric, or said another way, 3 kilograms and 2 kilograms of garbage per person ends up in the ocean every year.
Wow.
That's a lot
of garbage.
Now, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, and Sri Lanka all generate around a half a kilogram or so per person into the ocean. Still a lot.
Sure.
China is the lowest per capita from that list that I gave you, right? It's around 50 grams per person of trash is ending up in the ocean.
Still a lot of trash.
Still a lot of trash. For perspective, the U.S. is around 7 grams per person per year, right? So about an order of magnitude less than China.
Yeah.
But at least it gives you sort of perspective. You've got the U.S. generating 7 grams of trash per person per year into the ocean.
I'm happy to hear we're not the big polluters.
Right? Isn't that seem so rare? Whereas the Philippines have around 3 kilograms of trash per person.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's mind-blowing.
When I got into the data, I triple-checked it. I'm pretty damn sure I'm right. And I looked at this and I was like, that is a lot of trash that makes it into the water. Okay, so what do you do, right? You think about cleanup on this. Because as I got into the problem, I was like, well, I hope it's not all just doom and gloom.
I happen to know that mostly it was considered the unsolvable problem.
Yeah, that's what's kind of interesting.
Can't be done until a teenager came along.
Yeah. As Jeff was just saying, right? While there are many individuals and international organizations dedicated to preventing the patch from growing, no nation has been willing to take responsibility or provide the funding to clean it up. I think, likely it's because the Great Pacific Garbage Patch is so far away from any country's coastline. Yeah. It's like, well, not my problem, right? I don't see it every day. To me, at least, when it's not clear who should do something, in my world, I suspect the answer is everyone. Like, this is an us problem, right? It's not a you problem. It's an us problem.
No matter who's responsible for throwing the plastic out there, it is an us problem. Yeah. Because we all eat the fish.
But it also would be nice to get the Philippines to stop putting 10% of it fucking out there.
Of course.
But cleaning up marine debris is not as easy as it sounds. Many microplastics are the same size as small sea animals. So if you try to use nets to scoop them up, you're going to catch all these creatures as well. Mm-hmm. And even if you could, the size of the ocean makes that job super difficult. The National Ocean and Atmospheric Administration's Marine Debris Program has estimated that it would take 67 ships 1 year to clean up less than 1% of the North Pacific Ocean. Charles Moore, the man who discovered the vortex, says cleaning up the garbage patch would, quote, bankrupt any country that tried it. Yeah. Here's the good news. This is all terrible, right? Yeah. Terrible news. The good news is we think he's likely wrong.
Yeah.
And that's great. So the guy that was coming back from a yachting race, having to sail through a bunch of trash, doesn't know a lot about cleaning it up. And I think that's a good thing.
A Dutch kid has been working on this since he was a teenager.
This is the Ocean Cleanup Project.
Yes.
What he started this when he was a teenager.
Boy in slack.
He said, I want to clean this up. I want to find a path. And he's been at this for years. And just this week, as this recording, after 6 years of development and 3 years of extraction operations, the Ocean Cleanup has declared that the Great Pacific Garbage Patch can actually be eliminated.
First of all, he's built these amazing devices that are just massive. Are you getting to that? I don't want to get ahead.
No. Go on.
These amazing devices he's on is like this third generation of this thing. And it cleans the size of a football field in 5 seconds.
This is what's so nuts about this and why I'm so excited about this project is he's taking this iterative approach, right? They're just saying we're going to figure it out. We're going to start small and that's going to break. And then we're going to make improvements and then that's going to break. And we're going to just keep scaling this up until we can achieve this goal. And I think it's definitely a lesson that I've taken from software engineering.
If you go online, you can see how he lets sea animals who get caught out. They inflate this part of the back part of the net that lifts it up and lets the sea animals get out.
So they can get out. Yeah. It's so cool.
It's amazing.
The Ocean Cleanup's operation has demonstrated that the elimination of the Great Pacific Garbage Patch can be done at today's level of performance, what they've already showcased, in about 10 years at a cost of about $7.5 billion. Their sort of further data and modeling has indicated that the removal of the Great Pacific Garbage Patch could be achieved in 5 years at a cost of $4 billion. Real world today, they believe they can do this 10 years, $7.5 billion. They think there's a possibility you could do it in half the amount of time for about half the money.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know about you, but I think that latter option
sounds good.
Looks better.
$5 billion seems like we could collect that among all the, first world countries to get that cleaned up.
I mean, I haven't gone deep down the cleaning path on this because I feel like, one, I talk a lot, and this is something that if our listeners are interested in, we should do this a deeper episode on this. But just for context, the annual spend in the U.S. on Halloween decorations is about $10 billion. Probably a good portion of those end up in the Great Garbage Patch, if I had to guess.
No, because...
Well, I guess maybe not. We only put 50 grams. We only put 7 grams. Sorry, we only put 7 grams out there. U.S. pet food spending in 2024 was $67 billion US.
Wow.
The combined net worth of the top 10 richest people in the world is $1.5 trillion.
Sure.
And by the way, this number is about 1% of the annual net profit of the world's plastic producers.
Sure.
Which is about $7.5 billion, give or take. So the point is, this is an achievable number if we wanted to do this. This is not an insane number. I mean, fuck. Last week, NVIDIA lost $270 billion in market cap when somebody sneezed about AI. So this is a number that I think is well within our grasp to achieve. The ocean cleanup project that Jeff, you are I think more optimistically excited about. Yeah. They're on what version of that? They're on system 3, I think now, right?
3.
Yeah. So this is where they've tried to prove the concept, scale it up a little bit, deal with all the challenges. And then I think what they're trying to do with system 3 is really show that they can do it at scale and be able to run this thing at scale.
I think they've shown it. What he needs now is a bunch of these.
Yeah.
Because the ocean is massive.
The ocean is not small.
The other thing he's done that is really cool, I don't know if you've seen this part, but on rivers, they have this thing called the interceptor.
Oh, yeah.
Because the trash is coming down through the rivers to the ocean.
Yeah.
So if they grab it before it gets to the ocean in the rivers, we have Interceptor 7 in Los Angeles, and it literally just filters out the trash before it gets into the ocean.
This is really important. A lot of people will sort of shit on this idea and be like, well, why clean it up? There's just more trash that's going to come out there. Okay, well, two things. One, they have these interceptors that Jeff just talked about, which is solving the future problem of more trash getting out there. Also, two, if your toilet is dirty, do you just not clean it because it's going to get dirty again? You still got to fucking clean it. You still got to get the shit out of the ocean. Just because more stuff won't make it out there doesn't be like, oh.
Oh, no, you want to get it out before it starts breaking down further, because once it starts breaking down further, it's really hard to clean.
Yeah, you need mass filtration.
Might not even be possible.
I just know from my own experiments at home with random things, have you ever tried to rinse out rice?
Yeah, sure.
You could just keep rinsing it out and it just keeps getting starchy and the water just keeps getting and then rinse until clear. 3 hours later, I'm still rinsing rice, trying to get it clear.
Still not clear.
I feel like this is the same thing. You can't just pump out the Atlantic through a filter into the Pacific and then vice versa. There's no
you be a huge problem.
You can't do a full state change. There's no just undo Control Z on plastic generation. It's all out there.
For sure.
I was kind of fascinated by this. This idea was spurred by Boyan Slat's sort of cleanup campaign, right? This what he's been working on. He spent tens of millions of dollars.
A single kid in his teens
started this. I know
is going to clean up the world's oceans.
Well, he's 30 now, so he's not.
I know, but he started in his teens. It's amazing. I mean,
really
think
incredible.
What can one person do? Let alone what can a teenager do? This guy has achieved so much.
And also, I just would like to say that I love that he's doing this and not making fucking cat videos on TikTok. No offense to all the.
He can do that once he cleans the oceans. His mother said, "You can't do anything until you get the oceans clean."
Get that garbage patch cleaned up. Then you can do whatever the fuck you want. All right. You want to play more Minecraft? Go clean up the garbage patch. Until then, no command blocks for you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, I thought this was fascinating, and just thinking about the size, but really where this trash is coming from. I mean, I just feel like you need to sit down with those 15 or 16 countries and be like, guys, what the fuck? Do you just need bigger trash cans? Dig a hole? What's going on?
Yeah.
Anyway, next time you're sailing yourself out to Hawaii and you see a big floating bit of trash, think about the Philippines and Malaysia, because they're the ones that are putting most of it in there.
All right, we have to get out of here, but quickly before we do, have you seen or read anything good this last week?
Well, what a great transition. Yes, I say the same thing every year around this time.
Yep.
It's the Apple End of Year Summer Spectacular,
sure,
right, where they tell you all the new things that you have to have and that you won't live without.
Coming into fourth quarter, everybody's going to tell you about their phones.
Yeah, it was a little overhyped, but I do like the glossy black watch finish. I thought was pretty cool. I like their heavy use of titanium. They're putting titanium on, I think, their watch line and on the iPhone 16, more of it on the iPhone 16 Pro.
Sure.
Which is super cool. I'm in that weird state, as I mentioned before on this show, where my phone is great. I have no reason to upgrade it, and I just keep kind of waiting.
Well, that's you and the whole world.
But I think I'm overdue for some new devices, so I'll be giving them all my money. I keep trying to put it into the CD slot on my MacBook, and it won't go in. But yeah, I think there's a new iPhone and watch in my future, as always, because there's more stuff that I just have to have. How about you? What have you seen?
DirecTV and Disney are battling it out over pricing, so there was no ESPN to watch the U.S. Open on my TV. That's what I saw this week, or didn't see this week.
I was going to say, that's what you didn't see.
So YouTube TV came to the rescue.
Yeah, isn't it great?
TV, you've tried it.
I've been on YouTube TV. I love it. I think it's the best. best.
Oh my word. I love commanding what channel I want to watch by voice.
Yeah.
And the Chromecast remote, it works amazingly well. Also, you have infinite DVR recording space, and you can keep your recordings for as long as you want. This is not a promo for YouTube TV. It wasn't meant to be, but I'm super enthusiastic about this because it's
great service.
I tried the 21-day free trial thing, and it's really amazing.
It's a really great service. And like, I love the whole like infinite storage. All they're giving you is a pointer to something they're holding on disk anyway. This is the way to do it.
It's the efficient way to do it.
Did you control the YouTube TV app from your phone? Because that's a pretty cool experience too.
No, I just talked into my remote. My Chromecast remote has a button on it. You just
even better.
Push it down and you say CNN or whatever it is you want to watch, and it takes you right there. It's incredible.
Such a great service. The multi-view, have you played with multi-view? You got to play with multi-view.
No.
So you can go in and be like, I want to watch these 4 football games, and it will just give you a 4-up display of the 4 football games
you can make your own grid?
Yeah. And then
that's cool.
Oh, yeah. And then you can just arrow between them, whichever one you have selected on the screen, it will give you the audio of. And the switching is like maybe half a second.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So it's great. Like, because I'm not like a huge sports fan, but I'll have it on and I'll be like, oh, that game's close. Let me just go motion over to it and I'll listen to it for 2 minutes.
But anyway, I haven't become a cord cutter yet.
Yeah.
Now, in all fairness, the DirecTV that I use does have my Dodger games and Laker games.
Yeah.
And YouTube TV does not.
Yeah. Why don't you just read the box score in the newspaper you get delivered every day?
That is the episode.
Thank you for joining us for All This Nonsense, a truly terrible podcast from The Awful Company. Visit us on the web at nonsense.productions. I'm Steve Little.
I'm Jeff Parker.
If you like this program, please follow, download, subscribe, and like at Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, Amazon Music, AntennaPod, iHeartRadio, Spotify, My Favorite Overcast, or wherever you may get your podcasts from.
Nonsense uses Signal Messenger. There's no such thing as secure messaging on software that is not open sourced. Signal's strongly encrypted open source messaging. Check it out. Special thanks to our floor director, Josh Niv.
Thanks, Josh. We'll be every Thursday morning for more nonsense. Please join us.
However, we think you're really going to like it because we use titanium.
We used iron. It's slower, heavier, it rusts. It's made out of iron.